Choosing type. Decisions about what type to choose will be based upon many factors. But before you can make those decisions, you really have to get a better understanding of what type is and how it's constructed. Remember that typography is an art. It's not a science like some people like to think. It requires some thought, and it requires your eyes, and it requires you to study other people's work as well as the history of typography. Two basic guidelines. Understand the reader's pleasure. Is this a book, for example, where they will be reading hundreds of pages? Do you want their eyes to strain as they read? Or is it a poster for an upcoming event where there may be 6 or 7 words on the entire poster, and you might want them to be drawn to those images? And be true to your font. Try to understand why a font was developed. Individual human beings have developed individual fonts for specific reasons. As you study fonts and individual fonts, get a sense of why the font was developed and for what circumstances it was developed for before you decide to use it in your particular piece of work. Some terminology that becomes very important in typography. One of the terms that you will hear a lot is the term serif. Serif is small decorative pieces on the ends of each character. These are called serifs. In this case, we see this design piece at the top of the S and this design at the bottom of the F. Those are serifs. They are a detailed part of a letter on the end of some strokes. Sans serif. Sans serif, or simply sans, does not have the small projecting features called serifs at the end of the stroke. Actually, it comes from the French word without. Here is an example. As you can see, the letter ends. There is no stroke at the bottom or the top. Sans serif. Sans serif fonts have become the standard for body text on screen, especially online. This is a very important piece of information because if you are designing for a web page, website, then you really want to think long and hard about whether you're going to go with a sans serif font or a serif font. Industry standard today is leading towards a sans serif. In print, serif fonts are more popular. While serif fonts are hard to read online, they are perfect for print. Serifs in print make it easier to read as they allow people to differentiate the letters more clearly. Print has a higher resolution. They can be seen more clearly and don't appear to blur together as they would in an online format. Here are 3 examples of a serif font that would be applicable in a print format. We have Garamond, we have Georgia, and we have Times New Roman in their particular fonts. Understand your audience and your canvas prior to choosing your font. Now, when I say choosing your font, you will, as a professional, be designing for a client or as a customer at some point. You will provide them with several examples and several different fonts that they may choose for the particular piece of work. But as you narrow down the fonts to 2 or 3 or 4, you need to understand these 2 points. The audience that you are trying to appeal to or that your client is trying to appeal to, and in what situation will they be displayed. Canvas, is the canvas a website? Is it a digital board that's on the side of a building, etc., etc.?